Most contractors at best leave money on the table and at worst go broke because they don't manage their contracts properly. So in this video, I'm going to show you 10 contract management mistakes contractors make that can very easily send them broke. These mistakes are going to be broken down into contract formation mistakes before you sign the contract, and contract administration mistakes during execution of the project. So the goal of contract formation is to sign a contract with terms and conditions and a price that gives you the best possible chance of making money. First big mistake contractors make is they focus on price over terms and conditions. If contractor A submits a quote for $100,000 and contractor B submits a quote for $200,000, which contractor is cheaper? Well, the obvious answer is contractor A. The reality is you don't actually know the answer to that question until you understand the terms, conditions, and clarifications that surround that offer. The reality is everybody in the construction industry focuses on price, but the reality is contractor A might have submitted a quote, excluded 90% of the scope, not signed up to liquidated damages, want faster payment terms, and have all these other qualifications when contractor B has agreed to do everything in the specifications. The takeaway is because everybody in the industry focuses on price, terms, conditions, and scope are your opportunity. You can be willing to negotiate on price because the construction industry is a commoditized industry. People choose the cheapest contractors, but if you can clarify your terms, conditions, and scope, so you can pull down your price, but still structure your terms and conditions so you have the opportunity to make money, it will increase the chances of securing a profitable contract. Mistake number 2 is trusting relationships over writing. On my last project, we had a fantastic relationship with the client project manager, where he'd worked on the pre-contract stage and then was there at the start of project execution. We'd agreed on everything. We'd started delivering the work, and then the client swapped project managers. They brought in a new project manager who read the contract to the letter, and a whole lot of things we thought we weren't responsible for were not clearly documented in the contract, and he used that to their advantage. So even though we previously agreed on certain things, they swapped project managers, and then the new project manager read the contract to the letter of the law. This is a classic contract management mistake. Assuming a good relationship with your client will protect you, and 90% of the time it probably will. It's the 10% of the time where you're caught out that can lead to real disaster. So have a good relationship, but also insist everything is in writing and everything is documented crystal clear. Mistake number 3 is not agreeing to a program. I'm shocked how many contractors sign up to a contract with heavy liquidated damages without a clear construction program showing them what dates they're relying on to meet their completion date in the contract. Basically, people agree to build something by a certain date without any understanding of what has to be in place to meet that date. If you do this, you're signing up to delays that you'll wear the cost of without any control over them. The key takeaway is a construction program that clearly defines the access dates, what dates you're relying on from the client. It gives you the opportunity to claim delays if you're delayed. So the construction program is one of the key contract management documents. Mistake number 4 is signing up to harsh payment terms. Contractors pay wages weekly. They may have to pay suppliers upfront, but then they sign contracts where they get paid 30 days or 45 days from end of month. Basically, from the day you start the work, you might be 2 months behind on payments. So basically, you're financing the project. Cash flow is a bigger source of insolvency in the construction industry than the profitability of projects. Don't just accept the payment terms in the contract, negotiate them and push back on them. Push for 20-day payment terms, cash retention over bank guarantees, interest on late payments, mobilization and early costs that you can claim in the payment schedule. Anything you can to ensure that you're getting paid before you're incurring costs. Mistake number 5 is not getting back-to-back risk transfer with your supply chain. If you're relying on your subcontractors to deliver the project for you and you're not getting back-to-back risk transfer, you're basically signing a contract to guarantee the performance of your subcontractors without any guarantees from them. If prices change or scope shifts, basically you're caught between and you're going to wear these additional costs. The key takeaway is before you sign a contract with your client, Set up your subcontracts, agree to the scope, the terms and conditions, the program, everything you're responsible from the head contract. Ensure your subcontractors can achieve that. And the day you sign the head contract, be ready to sign up your subcontractors. Okay, so avoiding these 5 mistakes should get you to the point where you've signed a contract with your best possible chance of making money. Next, what can you do during project execution to ensure your project is profitable? The first mistake during contract administration to avoid is never do additional work unless you have a written variation. Multiple times in my career, I've had clients ask for additional work, instruct us to do it, and then when they get the bill for it, to dispute the original instruction. They might think it's all well and good to tell you to do something, but then they're shocked when the bills come in and they'll clarify that, oh no, they didn't mean that, or no, they didn't actually want you to do that work, and they'll try and get out of paying you for the additional work. If you don't have it in writing, it becomes a he said, she said situation. So before you do any additional work, make sure you submit a variation, you agree on the price, because once you've done the work, you lose all of your negotiating power. The next mistake is not getting paid early and often. As soon as you start doing work, put in a payment claim, try to get paid early and often, even do a test payment claim so the process is ironed out, there's no issues. So when you start spending huge amounts of money, you've already got a structure for how to get paid and you've already worked through the process with your client. The next mistake, and I'm guilty of having done this multiple times, is not dealing with change as specific issues, but bundling a whole lot of variations together into one big messy claim that gets disputed. I was working on a major electrical job and there were about 10 changes to the lighting server works. We bundled this together into one big variation claim and it was a mess. Client suddenly got confused by all the changes. Everyone was confused on what was happening, how it was valued, what the original change was, how the change impacted the price. When you're dealing with variations, it's much better to have a lot of small changes. Everyone agrees on the change and the valuation of the change than to try to bundle 10 variations together into one big claim. The key takeaway is submit small, clear variations with specific details on what changed, why it changed, what's the cost impact, and any supporting documentation. It will be so much easier to get these approved. The next big mistake I see is not maintaining a construction program. As I was saying during contract formation, the program is your tool for claiming additional time and cost if the client is late in giving you access. The only way you can do this is if you maintain an up-to-date and relevant construction program. Update the program weekly, track plan versus actual, go through it at your weekly meetings with the client. They'll see you as more professional for doing so, and it will also be incredibly easy to justify any EOT or claims you make. And the final one that most general contractors are guilty for is letting and forgetting your subcontracts. We sign a contract with our subcontractors, we send them the drawings, we tell them what date to come to site, and then we basically just assume they're going to manage themselves. And a lot of really good subcontractors will. That's basically all you have to do. It's the subcontractors that underperform, make mistakes, and don't manage the work properly that you get caught out for. So even if you trust your subcontractors, you know they're going to do a really good job, you still need to stay on top of them. If you just assume they know what they're going to do and they don't, you're setting yourself up for failure. Rework, delays, and cost blowout. So the key takeaway is micromanage your subcontractors, track everything, how they're going with their quality, where they're up to in the program, what work's completed, what's not completed. Go and physically check this for yourself. Check on their safety, how they're performing, and inspect everything. That old saying, trust but verify.